What's up everybody? This is Elliot with Modern Music Studio. Today we're going to be running through how to use the Novation Launchpad with Ableton. I'm going to keep it simple so we can kind of just start rocking out right away. So to begin with, I'm going to go through a few things on the Launchpad itself just to get you up and rolling. So to start off with, when we're looking at the Launchpad, you're going to notice you have a few different buttons up here that are lit up. You have your up and down arrow keys and your left and right. These just kind of navigate you around. You'll notice with this kind of purple box that's around my session view, what you're seeing on the Launchpad is what you're seeing in Ableton as well. So the more tracks that you have, the more you're going to kind of find that you got to navigate around a little bit. So you have this button right here that says Session. Session is going to just show you your session view. If you're in user view, this is going to be pretty much what you're playing, like your MIDI instruments and whatnot. User 2 is just another input, so you can have different instruments on different user buttons, essentially. Then you have your mixer. Here you can choose pretty much everything from like volume and panning, so you can pan your instruments. You can use send, so send to a reverb or delay. You have a stop button, as well as a mute, solo, and a record arm. You'll notice as I click the record arm button down here, on Ableton, my record arm is moving as well. Same with the solo. If I solo myself, you can hear it, but if I click another one, so just keep that in mind. These are a couple quick buttons. So one of the first things that I want to go into is just how to kind of get a little more feedback from the Launchpad. You'll notice I have my drum rack here selected and record enabled, meaning when I hit the buttons, I can play it, but I can't see what I'm doing. I like to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to run you through this really quick. To light up the buttons, simply insert a MIDI track. We're going to name it Lights for now. I'm a big fan of keeping stuff organized and labeled. And we're going to drop down to our I/O section. If you can't see this, just come over here to this little button and it will open it up for you. You're going to go to your MIDI from, select Launchpad. And then you're going to go to your MIDI to and select the Launchpad as well. Now 2 more steps, select your monitor in. And then for some reason you have to select channel 6. By doing this, you'll now notice that the lights are lighting up when I touch them. Again, it's not a crucial thing, but it just helps me kind of figure out what I'm doing. So now I'm just going to run through my basic setup for this song. It's nothing too special, but I like to be a little set up before I start creating. So here, my first track is me. This is just me talking, the microphone that I'm talking into so that you can hear me. My second track is just a drum rack. To make one, just insert a MIDI track and then drag a drum rack onto it. You can select any of Ableton's pre-made kits, or you can drag your own samples into it like I did. You'll notice I'm using a lot of Cymatic stuff. They have a great free sample packs, or have a bunch of great free sample packs on their website. I recommend them. My next one is this vocal sample plugin that I have. It just sounds really cool. And then I have a Rhodes, just a basic chord progression that I entered in. And then I have an audio track labeled guitar because I will be playing guitar in it as well, just to kind of cross off all of the things you can do. Alright, so I'm just going to do a quick example of what you can do with this, and then I'm going to run through how you actually set it up and make it happen. Check this out. a quick little demo. So let's kind of get into how that all works. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just kind of how to set up for yourself. So with my guitar track, I have it running through my interface here. It's an Audient. You can use whichever interface you have. It shouldn't really matter too much. Just make sure that your audio is coming from the right track. You'll notice number 2 is looking a little more hot. That's because that's my voice. My guitar is going to the track 1 here. You also want your monitor on auto. What this is going to do is while you're recording, the monitor is in, meaning you can hear what you're playing. But once you're done with the loop or done recording, it's going to switch to off so you can hear the loop. The next thing is I have a drum track and my kind of vocal sample track. To create a loop with Ableton in this sense is you're going to want to go ahead and put in a MIDI track and then come down here to length and select the length that you want. For me, I'm just doing 4-bar loops. I'm going to do the same thing with drums. I'm going to put in a MIDI track and add a 4-bar loop. So now, when I select it and I hit record, it's going to record into that track a 4-bar loop, and then immediately at the end of those 4 bars, start looping again. This way you don't have to mess around with moving from user to session and try and like hit the record button and end the record button at the right time. It takes all of that chaos away. A quick note though, is that you have 2 different record buttons up here. You have the record here, which is your main record, and then you have a session record button. The session record button is different in the sense that it continues to record into the clip that you have chosen until you stop. And here's kind of an example of how that works. If I can't play a beat altogether, like I don't know, something. If I can't play that, I can just build it 1 layer at a time, like so. So now we've restarted, and I can go ahead and add on more afterwards and go. So you can just kind of keep adding stuff as you flow with it. One quick note I'd like to make. With recording, you may or may not be on tempo. A quick thing to do to just kind of ensure you're doing well is go to Edit, and then go to Record Quantization, and then choose whatever you want. I like 8th note. You can do 16th note all the way to 32nd note. This just means it's going to snap your note that you're recording to the closest values you select. So if I'm doing 8th note, if I play just after the 8th note, it's going to snap it into place. Another thing is I also recommend using a click track because it's going to make it just easier to stay on tempo in general. So then the next thing I have is I just have this Rhodes. It's not doing much other than I'm just hitting play. I've already just went in and made that clip because it's kind of hard to play a piano on this, but I figured I'd just start with it. So again, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start the track, and you can use the push or the Launchpad for this, and you just hit play. And then once you like kind of where you're at with it, go ahead and go up to your session record button, and then click it. When you have, it's going to record onto any track that you have record enabled. So I'm just go ahead and click it at any point, and you'll notice down here my drum rack is recording currently. So I can go ahead and add anything into it and make a cool beat. That recorded, you can use the Launchpad by going to Mixer and go down to the very bottom where it says Record Arm, and you can select a different track to record into. For now, I'm going to do my vocal samples. Record Arm that track, go back to my session, and then, or go back to User, and then once that is there, I can just simply hit this button again, the Record Session button, and start recording. So now we're starting to build some clips. If you want to record another clip and you don't want to have to like enter in another thing on the fly, feel free to record on the track you want to record into. And you're just going to have to work it a little differently. So now I'm recording. The issue with this is that if I don't stop the record button by hitting it again, it's just going to continue recording and recording and recording, which is kind of not useful. So you just got to get a little quicker at moving around the Launchpad.
Let me show ya. Let me show ya.
So you just kind of got to be quick there. That's really all it is. And then from there, you can go into your mixer, choose your volume, and you can kind of mess around and set stuff up however you want it and whatnot. There you have it. That's kind of a basic walkthrough of how the Launchpad works. I hope you enjoyed it.